My name is Yusuf Hasan, and I'm the chairman of the African American Day Parade. And you know, I've been a part of this parade since I was 25 years old. And it's been so important to me to be involved with the parade because I think it brings about much more than what we thought about as African Americans in this society. And I got involved with this parade in 1968 as a marching member with Malcolm Shabazz Masjid here in Harlem under the leadership of Imam Warisudin Muhammad and Imam Ali Rashid. And I really became a board member of the parade in 1979 after we had an opportunity to help support the takeover of Harlem through gentrification at Sydenham Hospital. Imam Rashid, my leader at that time, asked me would I go and sit down with some of the other leaders who was working to try to bring about attention to this part of changing Sydenham Hospital to a Woody Allen theater. That was the rumors. And they asked me to come in and go in and see can we help them. And I went and spoke with Reverend Y.T. Walker at Canaan Baptist Church, Reverend Timothy Mitchell, and also Diane Lacey, and quite a few other community leaders at that time. And as you know, we did end up winning that case in some level because now it's a nursing home for our seniors. And my job at that time was responsible for taking over that hospital with the 5 other brothers that we had. And we took over the medical records office, while the other members of the team who was going to take over went into the administration office. And the next day after that, we decided to leave. Imam Rashid asked me, could we need to go home? Because the mayor was coming in with the police department, but it said 8 o'clock. But we held the ground. And then after that, they asked me, could I come over there and be with them at the administration? I said, no, I'd rather be out on the ground with the people who was coming around the corner protesting. And that's how I met Abe Snyder. He was, at that time, one of those great social workers and organizers in the community who was responsible at that time to help bring in the community groups and do the protesting and those other things. And at that time, he asked me would I join him with the African American Day Parade. And from that day on, I've been a board member of the parade, and that's been like 40 years now. This is our 50th year, that's like 40 years ago. So I'm honored to be a part of the African American Day Parade and been a board member that long, and now I'm the chairman of the parade. My real, one of the other things that I do is I'm a spiritual advisor and supporter in palliative care at one of the major hospitals in the city for pediatrics. And I understand what it means for community to go through trauma, for mothers to go through trauma, and how the community should circle around these people to make everybody better. So that's one of my main things that I do with the African American Day Parade. Try to make sure we stay focused on our community and how we can heal and make things better for the children and for our seniors.
As far as being involved with this parade?
I had inner choice with that. The African American Day Parade, my mother and my father, they were descendants of slaves. And when you talk about African American, you're talking about something that's very dear to me because African American is bigger than just a skin color and a struggle. It's an experience and a strength that make us who we are. And I know my parents and what we've been through and how hard it's been. And then for us to forget about them at their from this life, we want to make sure that our people continue to be remembered. So that's what the biggest experience for me of being a part of the African American Day Parade, that we never forget who we are, where we've come from, and our contributions to this society and this world. And it's easy for us to forget who we are. It's easy for people to forget the African Americans and just bury us in history. But the African American Day Parade in Harlem, which is the capital of African Americans in America and the world, is the place that it should be, on the ground, every year. And it's been there for 50 years. And I'm passionate about that.
Okay. Do you have any fond memories of the African American Day Parade?
Yeah, I have quite a few fond memories of the African American Day Parade. And one is this. Abe Snyder, Melvin Muhammad, and a few other the good brothers, Jim Brown, James Brown, and all the other guys that was working with us. We walked the streets of Harlem during the parade, putting posters up on the signs, and we parked the car in one place, we'll go another 6, 8 blocks, and so one of us go back and pick up the car and bring it back, and then we'll put posters up all along the parade route, and as far as we can go throughout the city. That was some memorable moments for me until it was like 12 o'clock at night. We would end up having those posters up, and the next day, when we go out and during the week we see those posters still up and looking so wonderful in the community. That was great memories for me to be able to do that with our hands. And that was something I'll never, ever forget.
Community.
Well, African American Day Parade have always been a pillar in this community. And we see the gentrification that's taking place. And what could help us improve on this is to keep it where it is, on the ground in Harlem. This parade started on 7th Avenue. Now it's called Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. This parade has to stay on the ground in order for anyone who moves in this city will know that African Americans are here. And we are not going anywhere. The line stops right here. We draw the line right here. Harlem is our home. And we should never allow anyone to move us out again and put us in other places and forget about us and put parks on our burial ground and change us to a position that we are not recognized anymore in our own community of which we built since the Renaissance days. And we should hold the line no matter what. So this is important to me, and this is important to the African American Day Parade Board. And we've been doing this since the inception of the parade, and we will stay right here in Harlem. That would help us more than anything else. Any cultural organization can be a part of this. Any group that's good and honorable can be a part of this parade. It's not a party. It's not a protest. It's not some social event that we come to. It is about commemorating our ancestors and showcasing the absolute best of our community. This is why it's important for us to work in the community and stay in Harlem. People ask me about bringing the parade on 5th Avenue. And I asked them, why would I want to take it to 5th Avenue? For what? You won't come down to 5th Avenue to watch the parade if you're African American 9 times out of 10. And we can't expect the seniors to come down and sit down and enjoy themselves. And the children wouldn't be able to come down and be happy and enjoy themselves. And definitely the people down on 5th Avenue would not want us there anyway. Let's be true about this. They wouldn't want us to come down on 5th Avenue with the African American Day Parade. So don't tell me we need to have publicity in order for people to know we exist down on 5th Avenue. We can have publicity right here in Harlem. This is our home. And this parade is a part of the fabric of African American Harlem. And it should stay that way. This is important to me. And it should be important to all of us. Be not afraid to say what is ours. We've done this. We've made this happen. We've worked hard. We've sacrificed a lot in our lifetime. So why now should we be forgotten once again in the annals of history? Not today, not with the parade. And I do not depend upon other people outside of us to make this happen. This parade can happen with us, the African Americans, especially if we need support monetarily, if we need people to do volunteer work, if we need people to do services for this community of African Americans. We need to rely on our own and stop relying on people outside of us to take care of us, because if we do that, this parade will not last for the next 50 years. We have to do this ourselves. We have celebrities in our community. We have entertainers in our community. We have sports persons in our community that we have supported We have bought records. We have watched television shows. We have saw those movies and all those other things that they do. We watched the sports games. And we've spent the money. And it's time for them now to come back and give some support to our African American Day Parade in this community so the children can see the best of us lined up on the streets. When we see the NAACP lined up, we see the Masons lined up, we see the sanitation workers, men and women marching one. We see the police department, African Americans lined up. We see all of these wonderful things that can make a community great. And this is what the African American Day Parade is all about. And I'm going to tell you another thing. We find five areas that we work on every year. 5 areas. One is business. We highlight our business community during the parade. After we do our business, we go to our education, where we highlight our educators. And after that, we go to health, where we highlight our physicians and other healthcare providers. And after that, we go to our culture, which is important and it's powerful. And this year, we are dealing with our politics and government. And we want to make sure that those men and women in that area are highlighted to the point that we know that they must have integrity and transparency. And that would make them good governmental leaders of our peoples. This is important to me. Someone needs to step to the plate and endow this parade and stop depending upon someone else outside of us to do that. I don't need people that's not a part of the African American community and dysphoria to help us. We need to do this ourselves so we know this will be sustainable. And don't send me no strings attached. Okay, if I donate $10,000, oh, you got to let so-and-so in the parade, or you have to do this, or you have to do that. If you donate to the African American Day Parade, know that we are going to have integrity and we're going to be transparent about what we do with those funding, including giving out scholarships to our young people. That's one of our goals have always been, to making sure our senior citizens are comfortable at the reviewing stand because they need to have a place to sit, relax, and watch the parade and feel at home and feel safe. We want to make sure that those things are in place for our community during the African American Day Parade. So money is the key for us to continue for the next 50 years or more. The African American Day Parade and any other great cultural entity is very important to this community. And I mean the Dance Theater of Harlem, the Apollo Theater, all those different groups. The Juneteenth celebration should be celebrated in this city of Harlem, because these are things that remind us who we are and how important we are in the community at large. This America, and I hear this narrative all the time, that America was built on the backs of immigrants. Let's be clear. America was built on the backs of slaves and their descendants. And we are still bearing the brunt of those things that happened in slavery to this day. And so the African American Day Parade has an opportunity to continue to fight for the causes that is right for our community, just by us taking care of it ourselves. So it's important that any event that we do, and not just to go out and dance and twerk in the street and have a block party. The parade has a purpose. We have a purpose, you see, and a theme. And that's what we're all about. And we shall continue to be that way in all these other events that we do.